I'm back with a brand new track called I Was Wrong About Two Things. Well, kind of. I'm going to talk about those things. First off, you can watch that part of the video, and then I'm going to talk about some other stuff at the end. First, I figured out what she was talking about.
We need to also recognize that we just had two of the coldest years, the biggest drop in global temperatures that we've had since the 1980s, the biggest in the last 100 years.
So from 2016 to 2018, we had a period of time that, if you look at that exact length of time, we have never had a decrease of that magnitude. That's confusing. It's just like, it's a hard thing to say, and so even as I'm saying it, it sounds like I'm confused because it's a difficult thing to portray accurately. But what you can say is this sentence. You can say, we had a 2-year period that was the largest drop in global temperatures ever recorded. It sounds very similar to we had the lowest temperature ever recorded sometime in that 2-year period. That is not what it is. And she even says that accidentally, or maybe on purpose, but probably accidentally. She says the lowest temperature in that jumble of words that she said, but that's not what it was. What happened was 2016 average temperature was very high, 2017 dropped, and 2018 dropped even more. And so there was this period, this 2-year period where the temperature dropped more than half a degree Celsius. That's a huge drop. It is the largest 2-year drop we've ever seen. If you look at a 3-year period, that we have not experienced the largest 3-year drop. That happened at a time in the past. If you look at a 1-year period, at any point in that time, there is not a 1-year period that's larger than any drop we've ever had. But if you look at a 2-year period, it is the largest decrease in global average temperatures we have ever seen. And do you want to know what happened when we went from the highest temperature we've ever recorded, and then we had a 2-year period where the temperature dropped more than it has ever in since we started recording temperatures in the 1880s. Here's what happened. We had a year, this year, that will probably be one of the 4 warmest years ever. So we've dropped in a 2-year period more than we ever have, and now 2018 is on track to be one of the 4 warmest years of all time. Now, if you want to look at that trend line and say, hey, we could continue down and then it's all gonna, this was the top, but this is how it works, and this is why we shouldn't extrapolate from short-term trends. Now, I will say that we do all the time extrapolate from short-term trends, and we do, as climate activists say, in 2016, we were like, this is very hot. This is a big deal, and we maybe, in a purely scientific sense, we shouldn't do that, because we should say, oh, there are outliers sometimes, and this is a deviation from even the trend line that we had previously been seeing. But here's the thing. It's a lot easier to talk about 2016 where the temperature increased dramatically to a temperature that a global average temperature we'd never seen before, substantially higher than it had ever been. That is a bigger story than the temperature decreasing over a 2-year period to a temperature that would have been the hottest year on record if it happened in 2004. It's not that it doesn't fit the narrative, it's that it isn't that big of a story. It's a bigger story when we have the hottest year of all time than when we have the 4th hottest year of all time that happened to be a significant drop from the hottest year of all time. So that's the situation. Great rhetoric, working. Good job, woman from the American Enterprise Institute. The second thing, I totally got a thing wrong, and it's a thing that I'm ashamed of and almost took the video down because this video has gotten more Twitter play than the Average Hanks Channel video. It's grown a lot faster than the Average Hanks Channel video. It still doesn't have a ton of views. It's got a fair amount of views. This is just a definition that I got wrong. I said that mitigation was when you work to deal with the problems as they occur. So you send in the power to the 3rd floor of the office building because it's gonna flood a lot in the future. That's not right. Mitigation is, in fact, dealing with the problems before they occur. Mitigation is what we want to do right now. I was wrong, and I feel bad about it. So mitigation would be, for example, a carbon tax or a subsidy for renewable energy. all mitigation would be a number of different things that apparently this woman from the American Enterprise Institute would consider hysterical or hysteria. I don't really know. Like, she says that we should do things to mitigate, but like, it seems like everything that people have said are good like strategies for mitigation to her appear to be climate hysteria. It's just good rhetoric, man. Like, yeah, totally, we need to do things to solve this problem, but hit me with any particular one and that's way overboard, basically, is the impression that I'm getting. So if you, American Enterprise Institute, would like to suggest some strategies for mitigation that don't involve, economic costs, hit me up. But I do think that there are gonna be economic costs. And the last thing I want to say is, like, I wrote a book about how we are all being invited into punditry and how I don't like it. And of course, this is something that like I legitimately feel like is important and that I want to fight to have the truth out there and to have it not be obfuscated. And I also feel like I'm in a good position to do that with regard to both my background and also my, position of having an audience. But it's just a pain, man. Because you gotta get stuff right. And when you get stuff wrong, like I did not have time with that video, and I wouldn't have put this video on Vlog, that video on Vlogbrothers, because I was just mouthing off a little bit. Like, I saw this clip and I was mad about it. And I didn't take the time to figure out what she was talking about, which I should have done. And I didn't do any fact checking. I didn't even write a script. I just talked and I got stuff wrong. And journalists spend, what's happening to there's a countdown. What does that mean? What happens when it reaches 0? I was running out of card space. Turns out I'm a professional. There's this thing that April says in the book, basically, is what I'm trying to say, is that you can't argue with a professional arguer without becoming a professional arguer. And I just don't think that I want to be a professional arguer. I think that I want to be a professional science communicator and person who makes educational content and runs company doing that. Like, that's what I think I want to do for a living. And I don't think that I don't want this to be my job. I don't even really want it to be my hobby. And so, like, is that a problem? I'm a little bit concerned about it because, I see that stuff and I'm like, I want to explain, like, why this is an effective message at confusing people and making them believe something that isn't true. And yet, I don't want to spend time doing that because I have to work on PodCon content right now. And I want to work on PodCon content right now. So yeah, I can't have this job. And when I feel like it's important to get stuff right and inevitably I'm going to get stuff wrong, most people in that biz would probably just be like, whatever. Was something I said was misleading? Oh no, that was the point. Whereas I feel a deep responsibility to make this video correcting myself. Whereas I don't know that a lot of other people working in this kind of rhetorical space would feel that need.